I'm so sorry to do this right out of the gate. I'm going to sing, okay? I warned you. I warned you that I was going to sing, so here it comes. It's beginning to look a lot like Flipmas.
Nice.
Yes, everywhere you
Nice.
go. Everywhere you go. It's November, and it's, you know what? It's never too early to put up those Flipmas decorations, Zach. It's a brand new Village Vice. See Zach Blackerby. I'm Brad Law. Today's show brought to you by MyBookie.ag. They're doubling your initial deposit at MyBookie.ag when you use the promo code Next Round. Not just when you walk in the door. They don't just do it for everybody. They're doing it for you because you watch the show. Put in the promo code Next Round. They'll double that deposit, and you can have tons of fun this Flipmas season at MyBookie.
Yeah, we set up our Flipmas tree.
Mm-hmm.
We've got the Flipmas decorations inside, not outside yet. And the reason was because the writing was on the wall for Shamar Arnoux to flip from USC and join Auburn's 2025 class. And the timing of this is interesting. And also just Shamar's recruiting saga has been a little interesting as well. I mean, this kind of goes way back. Brad, back into when Auburn was in the middle of the Juju Lewis craze before the whole Deuce Night thing started kind of becoming realer and realer. And obviously he's committed to Auburn now. But Shamar, when he committed to USC, he's teammates with Juju Lewis. They're apparently very close. And in his commitment, Juju threw him the football or the gloves or it was something that had USC on, and that's how he announced that he was going to USC. And it's like, oh, okay, so we're probably not getting Juju because, USC is now getting all of these guys that Juju wants to play with. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Auburn felt out of it. And now Shamar flips from USC to Auburn earlier today. And it's just kind of interesting to see okay, no recruitment is ever done. And some of that has to do with the relationships, and some of that has to do with situations. I mean, everybody in USC's class seems to be trying to get out of it, which is fascinating, but also just the relationships that this coaching staff is so good at forming. I mean, we're seeing Coach Crime Dog kind of tweet all these things about how excited he is that Shamar Arnoux is now part of this 2025 class. It's just this recruitment has been interesting, and I think it's certainly worth some time to discuss today.
Yeah, it's fascinating. Coach Freeze said on Tiger Talk Monday night that he thought December was going to be wild. He just flat out said it. December's probably going to be wild with recruiting finishing up and portal decisions and everything else that comes with December. And you get a little early taste of that in November. Listen, I have no problem with any cornerback in theory, with any four-star corner who's 6'2" and 180 pounds and plays in the highest classification in the state of Georgia. There's a lot to like about that. And when you lose a member of the recruiting class at that position and you gain another at that position, all right, we'll see what the net winds up. We'll see. We got time. We got a couple years to figure out whether it's a net gain, a net loss, or if it's net neutral. But what it tells me is that it's another real tangible example of the momentum on the recruiting trail is still very much real. It's still real. It's not slowing down. So
that's true.
Despite the record, despite the frustration with what you're seeing on the field, the momentum is still there and the vision is still there. By the way, if you're a defensive player, how would you not look at Auburn and get really excited about the potential?
100%. And that's something Shamar talked about. I think it was the Rival story that I read, but he was quoted saying path to playing time, early playing time was a factor. And it's easy to look at this roster and see there's a chance he could play as a true freshman or a redshirt freshman or a true sophomore. Yeah. And
on top, on top of that, not just a path for playing time because there's so many young players on the field. So the guys you're battling for playing time aren't guys that are 3 years older than you and they've been going through college workouts for 3 years, but also 1 year of DJ Durkin. And Auburn right now is the number 2 total defense in the SEC in conference games only. They're top 5 against the rush. They're top 3 against the pass. They're number 2 in total and number 3 is 20 yards a game more. So it's not like it's a big cluster.
And that's also with the context of them having to play more because the offense is really helping them out and turnovers and all of that too. So, I mean, having that defense statistically also with the full context, there's a case that Auburn has the best defense in the SEC. I don't know if I want to make it, but I think you certainly could make that case if you wanted to, due to context and situation. So, yeah, why not be a part of that? So Dante Core, the former cornerback commit for the Auburn Tigers, flips to Ole Miss earlier this week.
Yeah.
And we kind of all saw that coming. He visited at the same time Deuce Knight did for the Ole Miss Georgia game, and all the crystal balls came in for Dante Core. And this has kind of been one in the works for a little bit, it sounds like. And I think this Auburn staff saw this coming, and they're like, all right, well, let's make sure everything's good with Shamar because we're going to want to replace him. And just on paper, when you look at the rankings, and we'll look at the On3 industry rankings that combines all of them, Dante Core was the 57th corner in this class, and Shamar is the 43rd best corner in this class. So on paper, and as far as how it impacts the rankings, Shamar is a 4-star on Rivals, a 3-star everywhere else. Dante Core is a 3-star everywhere currently. Like, on paper, Shamar is a better player according to the rankings than Dante Core. I don't know if I agree with that, Brad, just to be 100% honest. Like, I like Dante Core as a player. I was pretty clear on that elsewhere when we were talking about him potentially flipping away. Like, I think it's a bummer that Auburn lost Dante Core, but to have the plan in place to replace him quickly with Shamar Arnoux, I think is pretty impressive by this coaching staff.
Yeah, not only does it show that momentum's not slowing down, but it shows organization. It shows a plan. It shows that you respond.
Yeah, and awareness, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know that you're probably going to lose some guys, and you need to make sure you fill all these holes.
Yeah. I always, somebody said once, it was in the context of parenting, but it's like they call paramedics and people who come to help after an accident first responders. They don't call them first reactors. You don't want to be reactionary. You want to respond. And that is a response and not a reaction on the part of the staff. I don't know. Like I said, we got 2 or 3 years to find out just how much difference there is between those two guys specifically. Even if, I doubt there's just a ton. Like, I don't think we're going to be talking about one guy as a bust and another guy as an All-American. So,
between these two guys specifically?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
So, which underscores another point that we've made the last couple of weeks, that recruiting in and of itself gets you a seat at the table. You win and lose games with coaching decisions once the talent is similar. You're never going to be at a spot where you've got, and Pat and I talked about this 30 years ago, at Auburn, you're never going to be in a spot where you have so much talent stacked at every position that you flat out outclass the opponents you're interested in beating year in and year out on your schedule. So you just out-talent everybody. So get close, and then let the development and let the game day coaching make a difference.
Yep. So Shamar Arnoux, man, if he becomes like a stud, solid SEC defender, the amount of things we can do with his last name, I think, are limitless. Like, if he deflects a pass, just like, Arnoux completion, I don't know. I think there's something there. There's something there.
There are no receivers who can hang.
Wow. You're so good at everything. Everything. You're not even wearing your black t-shirt today.
Yeah. Thanks for noticing.
You haven't worn it all week.
Right.
But you are wearing something today that makes you look even more handsome.
I do always try to wear something on this show. Yes. Today,
there's been a few times where you tried not to, and I'm like, hold on.
There it is. When you see
Rowback.com,
that logo right there, you're looking good. You're feeling good. You've got it too. You're looking.
Are we
sharp.
matching right now?
We're matching. Yeah, we're like stepbrothers today. We're like, that's a movie. It's a movie, Step Brothers.
They don't match in that movie though.
Well, in the picture they do, don't they? Where they're wearing those Argyle sweaters.
Okay.
Got it. Anyway,
Rowback looks way better than the Argyle sweaters.
Oh, 100%.
100%. Do they have Argyle patterns on there? Maybe. They've got so many stinking patterns. Like, there's probably something similar to that.
Yeah.
But head over to rowback.com, RHOBACK.com. Use promo code VICE20 for 20% off your order. They've got these quarter zips, the best quarter zips in the game. They've got collared shirts, hoodies, hats, pants, shorts. They've got everything for men and women. And head over to rowback.com. Use promo code VICE20 today.
Brother, I'm telling you, Christmas shopping, like, you could get it done before Thanksgiving. Like, for all the guys in your life that you're shopping for, you got brothers, you got brother-in-laws, you got friends, you got uncles, you got dad, son, whatever it may be. Get the men in your life row back. And
list more types of
price.
relatives. How many more you got?
Well, you have cousins. I don't know how many people buy, a ton of Christmas Flipments presents for cousins, but
okay.
That's pretty much that. I think I ran the gamut.
All right. You're just so smooth with it. I felt like you could have kept going, but that's on me. Speaking of keep going, I mean, Auburn basketball keeps winning 3-0. 3-0. I don't think we're quite ready to call it the Chaney Johnson game, but Chaney Johnson continues to be just as steady as can be.
Tell you what, he punished the rim like it stole from him last night.
Yeah, it looked personal a little bit. It's like, what did that rim do to you, Chaney?
It was
Goodness gracious.
Some aggression. I thought it might come down once or twice. Yeah, and the way it started, so it started 10-0. Kent State hit a 3, then Auburn ripped off 12 more in a row. And it feels like at that point, everybody in the building went, okay, that's it. We're done here. Kent State, to its credit, kept playing.
They clawed back.
They played a zone, gave Auburn some trouble, and they extended it like a lot. They went out to the timeline with it. They were really, really aggressive on the perimeter defensively. And that forced some problems. It forced some shots that you probably too quick. Some shots, frankly, Auburn makes most nights, but didn't last night.
Yeah, they were cold. And I'm kind of glad, work through some different looks, work through some, sometimes where you can't buy a basket. Like, you want it to happen against Kent State. No disrespect to them. I think they had a pretty good game plan, especially in the second half. But you want to see how they react in these types of games. If that happens against Duke or, against one of these teams in Maui next week, that's a problem. You're going to probably lose that game. But you want to see how they respond. So I do think there's a silver lining to this.
Yeah. And it did. It felt kind of like they sprinted at the beginning and they sprinted at the end. And in the middle, they kind of fell back to a jogging pace. I'd
like the first 8 minutes of the second half, it was kind of like, okay, Kent State outplayed us there. But every bit of that outside of it, I think it was Auburn's game.
Agreed. If I'd be almost borderline concerned for whatever concern means when you're an Auburn basketball fan at this stage of the year with this team. I mean, it's a curve. It is different than if you're a fan of most other teams. But if they hadn't started so scalding hot, you come out and lead a game 22-3, and it's kind of not. You're gonna. I mean, it's just hard to not fall back a little bit and relax a little bit in that type of environment.
Yeah, and I'm sure Bruce Pearl got after him, which is good. Give him more stuff to can't rest. Got to keep going if you want to achieve what this team thinks and what they are capable of achieving. So we'll see. But Janai Broome continues to just be this consistent force. Chaney Johnson was kind of the other kind of guy who stepped up in this, and you didn't really have a whole lot of help from the perimeter. Yeah. But I think the story of this team so far is different guys have stepped up in different moments. And until we're proven otherwise, it kind of feels like somebody's always going to have an opportunity to help carry this team at a different point. And I think that's huge.
I want to point out Chaney Johnson and Janai Broome last night. If you take away their 3-point opportunities, Janai is 8 of 10 from the floor. And Chaney is 6 of 8.
Say that again?
Take away the threes. All right. If you take away the 3, Janai went 0 for 2 from 3. So inside of the 3-point line, Janai was 8 of 10. And Chaney made 2 of his threes. So overall, he's 8 of 11. If you take away Janai's threes, those two combined to go 16 for 21 from the floor.
Janai's numbers, if you take out his 3-point shots, because he went 0 for 4, I think, against Houston. I think his shots not from 3, he would have been 10 for 11 against Houston, if I remember that correctly.
Yeah.
So he's been almost perfect around the basket, which is everything you can ask for.
I'm going to look these up if I can get them quickly here for the first 3 games period. So he's 2 of 5. From 3. No, that was against Vermont. He was 2 of 5. So his last 2 games, he's 18 of 21. He's missed 3 shots inside the 3-point line. Folks, pay attention to what you're watching right now. Appreciate it, enjoy it, soak it up. He looks like he looks like he's out at practice.
Yeah. I mean, as far as Janai, like in his legacy, I mean, I think he can do a lot. I mean, he's going to be remembered as maybe the second best basketball player in the history of Auburn as far as legacy goes. I think it's going to be Charles and Janai if they do what they're capable of doing this year.
Ooh. I like that discussion. I like that discussion more in March.
Yeah, he's got to do it. But like if they win another championship of any, whether it's a tournament championship or an SEC championship or even like an Elite Eight run, I think as far as legacy goes, Janai Broome is on the Mount Rushmore at least of Auburn basketball. He may already be there at this point anyway. He may already be top 4 now, but I think he could be top 1 or top 2 if they got one more run in him.
Yeah. No, it's hard to argue against that. I think you're right. Who do you think's 2 right now? Like if he's going to supplant somebody as 2, who would he be passing? It's a really hard discussion.
Are we talking about like legacy or are we talking about like overall talent?
Legacy.
I think Jared Harper's got to be up there.
Okay.
He led a Final Four run, the only one we've had.
Don't you think people put that more in Bryce? Like, he's got to split a lot of that with Bryce.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Do you put them both up there? Put them a combo, 2A, 2B?
They're so like connected. I don't know if anybody would really argue with that.
Yeah. And you got Chuma in there too. See, that's the problem is when you think of these great teams that Auburn has had, even when I go back to like more of my teenage era, that 98, 99 team, I don't just think of Chris Porter.
Mm-hmm.
Chris was the guy. He was kind of the catalyst because that group played
and he's
together.
I mean, he's one of those 4 faces. If we're making Auburn basketball Mount Rushmore today, like he's up there. And like to me, it's really hard to talk about Auburn basketball historically without mentioning Jabari.
Sure,
just because of
you have to.
His is more of a just straight talent, and they did win the SEC when he was here and when Walker was here. But it's a tough conversation. But I mean, Janai's there to me right now, I think. And if he wins one more of any sort, if he wins any other type of ring or trophy or whatever, he's there.
And for him to have been here 3 years and do it, I mean, that matters.
It does.
It does matter in this conversation. So.
Yeah, I mean, he flat out turned down the NBA last year to come back. So there's not many people in Auburn history that you could say that about.
And that endears you. That endears you to the fan base to come back. And I understand he's getting paid NIL and there are financial benefits, but boy, he plays hungry. He plays hungry. He plays passionately. He plays like he loves being here.
Yep,
and,
no doubt.
Handles himself. Again, Janai is one of these. He's a pro playing a college game. Jabari was that way. Walker was that way. There are some guys, and I'm talking about off the court stuff too now, that understand that there are components that come with playing a sport that are off the court, off the field. And if you embrace those like a professional, okay, they'll embrace you back. You'll benefit from them. Some guys shy away from those. Janai does not. He embraces the entire process.
Yeah, Jalen Williams might need to be on there, just the all-time winningest player. Like that gives you that gives you an argument to be in that top 4 too. So yeah, maybe we do a full show on this one day. That'd be fun.
Yeah,
that'd be fun.
I agree.
But for now, I think that about does it for today's show.
It does. Join the conversation at thebarnauburn.com. Message board community is buzzing. You can talk recruiting, you can talk basketball, you can talk anything you want. Frankly, at thebarnauburn.com costs you $1, a single dollar for your first month. In the meantime, subscribe to our channel if you haven't yet. Thank you for those who have. And remember, until next time, everyone has vices. Make sure Village Vice is one of yours.